Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new edition of the MEAC More here on the HBCU Sports YouTube channel. I am your host, Chris Stevens. You might notice I look a little different. You're probably thinking, Chris, you actually have hair? Not much, but yeah, I usually I'm bald by choice. Actually, I shave my head by choice, but I just haven't had a chance to get around to it. Haven't had a chance to touch up my cheeks or my goatee, so I look a little fuzzy today, and I apologize for my appearance. But I thank you all for tuning in. As always, greatly appreciate you. And before we get started, let's announce our sponsor. As always, this edition of the MEAC More is brought to you by not the Norfolk State Spartans. Would be nice though, but the actual sponsor is Rock Solid Contracting and Development, Construction, Remediation, and Demolition out of Wilmington, Delaware. RockSolidWorks.net for all of your construction needs. Thanks to Norman Oliver of Rock Solid Construction, and HBCU alum, by the way, who is sponsoring this program for us this season. We greatly appreciate it. All right, shouts out to Stuttering Nuke checking in. Shouts out to Silas. Thank you, Silas. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I know you guys are going to filter in as the show progresses. And we're going to get right to it. We're going to start with the MEAC and More money players for week 7. And as usual, that means more money for their teammates, more problems for the opponents. I don't know why I trip over that because, I wrote it. But anyway, once again, Walker Harris had a phenomenal game for North Carolina Central, 21 for 27 passing, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air, 8 carries, 30 yards, 1 touch on the ground. And once again, MEAC Offensive Player of the Week. I think it's pretty safe to say you can write his name in as Offensive Player of the Year in the conference. Like, unless some actual shenanigans happen, I think Walker Harris is the runaway winner for MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. Next up is sophomore linebacker Jordan Franklin from South Carolina State University. His numbers were crazy. 6 total tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, an interception, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery each. He had 1 of each, which means he was everywhere on that football field, and they needed him to be, as the South Carolina State Bulldogs had a little trouble with A&T, but ended up winning that game 22-16, and Jordan won MEAC Defensive Player of the Week. And last but not least, we got a tandem for you guys. James Jones and Marquise Gillis, the running backs from Delaware State. James Jones only touched the ball 3 times. Got 158 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, and tied a school record that he tied himself, a 40-year-old school record, with a 90-yard touchdown run. And Marquise Gillis, who is the MEAC's leading rusher, had 8 carries for $130 and 1 touchdown, and the Hornets' history-making 70-23 homecoming win over Southern Connecticut State. All right. Now, I'm going to be doing some moving around because I got so many slides, but we are going to hand out grades today for each MEAC team and the More aspect of it, which means we'll be handing out grades for our friends in the Coastal Athletic Association, and as well as, matter of fact, let me pull those up while I'm talking to you guys. So right now, this is not an easy job being a one-person band, putting all of this together, but we do it for the love of the game. Damn, I don't need you coming up on the screen yet. Relax. I want to make these grades a surprise, even though people probably already know what the grades are. But just being able to put this all together for you guys is not an easy task. But again, we do it for the love of the game. We do it because y'all love HBCU sports and we love to give it to you. So, all right. I think we got them all loaded now. Okay. All right. So we have 9. Count them. 9. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, I'm missing somebody. Oh, no. I know I'm missing. All right. There we go. All right. So got it. All right. We got all 9 slides loaded, which means we have 6 MEAC schools and 3 other schools. Silas, I can't wait for that game either. This bye week, these next 10 days are going to be long and arduous, but I very much am looking forward to that game as well. Shouts out to A&T Roy, head blacks in charge. We let them off the hook. Aggies in the house. Yeah, A&T's playing a lot better. We'll get to that in a minute, but we'll start with these grades, and these grades are going in alphabetical order, by the way, by the name of the school. So don't think it's like any ranking or anything. It's just the grades as I present them. So, of course, we're going to start off with Delaware State. Grade A. I gave them an A because anything other than what they've done in the last few years was going to be an A. I mean, they were 1-11 last year, 1-10 in 2023, and right now they're 4-3 heading into the bye. And Their best win was the 37-32 win over University of Albany, the infamous 4-hour rain delay that turned into a night game. That one, that's a game that Delaware State usually loses. Matter of fact, I don't even think they finish it. That's one of them games where past coaches would probably say, oh, well, we tried. Not Deshaun Jackson. He said, nah, we finishing this game. And true to life, Delaware State won that game 37-32. The worst loss, I can't even call it a worst loss because Delaware State didn't do anything. Only thing Delaware State did wrong in that game was get shut out in the second half. But when you lose your starting quarterback because an official decides to make the game about him, that's when you have a problem. And that's why Delaware State, that's why I call that the worst loss. The best unit, of course, is the running backs. Delaware State ran for 608 yards last week, which is a school record. And while we're here, folks, the goal is to get the super chat. If you guys want to drop a super chat, it can be $1, $2, 10,000 if you balling like that. I know some of y'all are. If you want to drop a super chat, feel free. The best unit, like I said, is the running backs. The worst unit is the pass defense. The pass defense is allowing upwards of 300 yards a game. That is not going to get you very far in the MEAC, even though the MEAC quarterback situation kind of drops off after a little bit. But I can tell you now, that pass defense going into Central gives me bad vibes next Saturday because Walker Harris is playing the best football of maybe any HBCU quarterback with the exception of Jacobian Morgan and Andrew Body. I mean, he's literally just, flinging that thing all over the place. He had 8 different receivers last week when Central beat FAMU. So DSU's pass defense, they need to work on a lot this week and next week as well because they're going to be tested October 25th for North Carolina Central's homecoming. And Silas, yeah. Shout out to Jared Hoffman. The Better Than Less Than podcast will be on tomorrow afternoon, Thursday at 2:30. Jared is going to recap all the best and brightest in Division II and NAIA HBCU football. You definitely want to check that out. Yeah. I mean, I really think that the winner of this game ends up winning the MEAC. And I mean, I think I've said it for a month straight now that North Carolina Central is the team to beat. And Delaware State being in the conversation is good enough, but they got to go down there with the intent to win, even though I still think this is just Central's year. I mean, Central has just been so good outside of a couple of games. And those were games against, FBS level schools. So what can you do? But yeah, I think Central's the team to beat. But if Delaware State beats them, what can you do? I mean, I'm going to be excited, but I mean, other people may not be excited. We move on to the Hampton Pirates. Their grade is a C-. They are 2-5 on the season. Their best win was a 41-34 decision over Norfolk State in the Battle of the Bay. Their worst loss, which our Jared Hoffman was in the press box for, was a 34-7 beatdown from Howard at the Truth and Services Classic at Audi Field in DC. Best unit, I mean, the offense is okay, but But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because they have some tackling machines on defense, but for some strange reason, they keep giving up points. Maybe because the offense, has, defense in bad spots with shorter fields. That's probably what it is. But yeah, by default, the defense is worse because of Hampton giving up that many points. But I don't want to call Hampton a disappointment because the Coastal was going to be tough anyway. But I felt like this team should be a lot better than 2-5. I mean, Trenton Boykin, when I talked to him earlier this season in preseason, he was very confident about how good this team was going to be. And I believed him and I still believe him. But for some strange reason, Hampton just has not been able to put it together this year. It's going to be tough. That second half is a murder schedule. Because I mean, you got like the middle pack of the Coastal, and the middle pack of the Coastal is good in just about any other FCS conference. So, hey. Jared says, I've seen Hampton up close. A C- is very generous. I try to grade on a curve a little bit, because I mean, I don't want to, just be slandering people for the sake of slandering people. But yeah, Hampton has not looked like I thought they would this year. And I don't know what that means for the future, but hopefully brighter days are ahead for the Pirates in the home by the sea, who seem to have, an abundance of beautiful alumni. Speaking of schools with beautiful alumni, the Howard University Bison. Howard and Hampton have so much to fight about, and the fineness of the women that attended those institutions is high up on the list. Just saying. But anyway, Howard's grade at 3-3 is a B. Their best win, the Truth and Services Classic over Hampton. Their worst loss last week is Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart would be leading the MEAC right now if they were in that conference. And we don't need that. We don't need a Shawan situation. So thankfully, Sacred Heart will be joining the Coastal next year. So, I mean, it's not like they're going to be applying for MEAC membership. Thank goodness. Their best unit is their offense. Tyreek Starks, the quarterback from Florida Atlantic, has played very well for them. And their worst unit, I can't say the defense is bad. I can't say the special teams is bad. It's just, sometimes, as a team, you lose as a team. And Larry Scott was not happy about that Sacred Heart game last week. Like, he was talking about, Tennessee State should be licking their chops because of how bad Howard played in that second half last week against Sacred Heart. And I don't know if I agree with that, but I know the coach knows his team better than I do. I still think that's a win for Howard. I do, because Tennessee State has looked awful this year, and we'll get to Tennessee State in a minute. Our next grade is the Morgan State Bears. The Bears, they get a C as well. They are 3-4. They haven't beaten a Division I opponent this year. And with all due respect to that team and that coaching staff, I can't give them anything above a C for that. Especially since the worst loss they had was a game they actually had won. Of course, their best win was the 27-0 shutout over Central State, Division II from the SIAC. And their worst loss, of course, was that incomprehensible 27-24 Hail Mary loss at Georgetown. And it's the same story as always with Morgan State. Best unit, that defense. Worst unit, that offense. We've talked about this forever and a day. And I have the watcher who will probably catch this on the flip. He made some comments on our last show talking about how Morgan State probably needs to get a different offensive coordinator in there. And I don't know Morgan State's personnel all that well to agree or disagree. But I'll say that this team has just been snake bit by the same thing every year. They have a dynamite defense, but they can't score the ball. And you still got to have one more point than the other person. If it's 6-5, that's fine. If it's 35-6, even better. But you still got to have one more point than the opponent on the scoreboard when the clock is all zeros. And, oh, wow. We are joined by a special observer, Stephen Campbell. Shouts out to Stephen Campbell for checking in with us today. So, yeah, Morgan State, I can't give them anything above a C, but I still think that they can be a player in the MEAC race. I really do. I really, really do. I just don't know what they have to do to put a competent offense on the field. That has just been their bugaboo in the entire Damon Wilson era. And when I did my what was that? The hot seat piece. Shouts out to Kendrick Marshall for making me do that. Oh my God, I hate doing hot seat pieces because people are going to really take offense to the, coaches being on a hot seat. Coaches take offense to being on a hot seat, but I did it. And someone commented, Damon Wilson should be on the hot seat. And I'm going to tell you again, I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face. No. There's no reason to blame him for Morgan State not having a good football team for the better part of 50 years. That ain't his problem. Yes, it's his problem to try and change it, but you got to start putting the resources behind him. And Morgan State got money. They getting grants and funding every single week. So, there's got to be a point where you got to find a way to put some of that money towards. Yes, you want your institution to thrive. Absolutely. You want your institution to be successful. But if you want the football team to be worth a doggone, got to do something. You got to put some resources toward it. Shout out to the boss man, Ken Rashad, checking in. For me, the question is, does Morgan State have the will to have a winning program? Do the alumni have winning expectations? That's a good question. That's a really good question. Because I can tell you now, as bad as Delaware State football has been, there have been some very annoyed alumni that they've been bad, which is why we're starting to see the inroads with respect to fundraising and the new field house that's coming. They got $20 million for that. I think they're actually going to start breaking ground on it soon, if I'm not mistaken. So, Delaware State has started to make some inroads with respect to caring about football and athletics. And I think that's what Morgan State has to do. They have to make up their mind whether they want to compete at football or not. Shout out to Ida Watcher checking in. I didn't think he was going to see this on the live, but thanks for coming through. He said, I think Morgan State is going to let his contract run out. Morgan State has money for non-athletic stuff. And yeah, I mean, again, the CU and HBCU is important. College and university. These kids are there to learn. And we want to have our kids have places to learn because as you can see, these other schools ain't too kind to our kind. So HBCUs still matter. I mean, we have to guard these schools and defend them with our very lives. And I would love for us to compete at an athletic level, but at the same time, I would also like to see us keep turning out doctors, lawyers, teachers, business professionals, educators, culinary folks, designers, and all of that. I mean, that's what our schools were started to do. And we should continue with that mission. But as far as football goes, Morgan State, that's a decision they have to make. Shout out to Vashawn Woodson. Not recently. I mean, their last MEAC title was in 2014. Their last one before that was 1979, but they were winning MEAC titles and CIAA chips, you know, a few years prior. So, I mean, back in the day, like, you know, I'm going to say it, before integration. Before integration, Morgan State was really, really good. And I mean, we don't talk enough about how integration just damaged Black college athletics. Let me come off a side screen for that. Because it's something that people tend to forget when they ask, oh, why hasn't this HBCU won anything in so long? Why hasn't this HBCU won anything recently? You know, that program used to be a proud program. What happened? Integration happened. Desegregation happened. You have to remember that when Bear Bryant got his backside handed to him by the late Sam Bam Cunningham in USC, he said, I got to get me some of these Negro boys. And of course, Bear Bryant was coaching in Alabama. And who used to get Alabama kids all the time? HBCUs. Who was getting Southern kids, Southern Black kids all the time? HBCUs. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, you name it, HBCUs used to have them. Now after desegregation, all these white football coaches are like, okay, I can deal with these Negro boys as long as they're winning me football games. That's why you got, you know, Brian Kelly doing stupid stuff like selfie platforms. You got Nick Saban doing Aflac commercials with Coach Prime and all of that. I mean, these coaches have started to like, you know, learn how to play the game in reverse because Black people have always had to play the game. White people have started to learn how to play the game in reverse. They're like, okay, we can tolerate Black people as long as they make us money and make us successful. And even then, they still hate us. So, I mean, it's like, what can you do? So when people start wondering why programs at certain ages have been bad or haven't been any good, you have to look at desegregation. You have to look at integration. And I always remember Don D.C. Curry, a.k.a. Uncle Elroy from the Friday movies. He used to be on Comic View all the time. He said, I wasn't excited about the civil rights movement. I wasn't excited about busing. He said the civil rights movement was about we shall overcome, not we shall come over. And I think that's pretty much what happened, that people started to feel like, you know, as long as Black kids and white kids can hold hands, drink from the same water fountain, everything's cool. No, we just wanted equal resources. It wasn't about, I'd like to buy a world of Coke and all of that, hands across America, we are the world. No, Black people just wanted equal resources for our kids to go to school, for our businesses to thrive, for our neighborhoods to thrive, and for us to be left the hell alone by white people. And we got none of that. All we got is a handshake, a Brown versus the Board of Education, and Jim Crow. That's what we got. And unfortunately for us, Jim Crow is back with a vengeance. Jim Crow is back like it never left. So I hate it. Sorry I went off on a tangent a little bit, but I think that's why we really need to understand why our football programs and our basketball programs, we're not turning out professional players like we used to. We don't have All-Americans and Hall of Famers like we used to, because the white schools have taken them all for years. And now we've got this thing where a lot of kids and their parents are like, if it ain't name brand, my kid ain't going. And I mean, our schools are name brands. Don't get me wrong. I mean, when you think about HBCUs, you think about Florida A&M, you think about North Carolina A&T, you think about Howard, you think about Hampton, you think about Grambling, you think about Southern, you think about, did I say FAMU? FAMU. So many great HBCUs in the athletic and academic space, but at the same time, these parents, they want to see Alabama on the letterhead. They want to see Texas. They want to see Ohio State. They want to see Michigan. They want to see Penn State. I don't know if they want to see Penn State too much since they just got rid of James Franklin. It's so funny because James Franklin was here in Delaware. He was flying a helicopter around to see a couple of kids he was recruiting. He should have saved that money. He should have saved that helicopter money. And now we don't even know if these kids are going to Penn State, for crying out loud. So, I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Yeah, Stephen Campbell, Bruce Pearl is a fraud, an absolute fraud of a human being. I have never liked Bruce Pearl. He always looked greasy to me. You know how some people just look like, icky? Like if you put your hand on them, you might get something on you might get something on your hands you can't get off. That's what Bruce Pearl is to me. I've never been a Bruce Pearl fan. He's always been sleazy to me. Always been sleazy to me. So I'm not surprised that he came out as a moron. Who else commented? I had a watcher said, think about this though. More black people got a chance to go to college because HBCUs never had the capacity for all black people who wanted to go to school. That's fair. That's fair. But at the same time, I just wish that our kids and our parents, because I guess I'm treading a line between Gen X and Boomer because I was born in 1981. And even though I don't have any kids of my own, I know a lot of people my age that do have kids. And a lot of these folks, they started, they kind of sort of forgot where they came from. And it boggles the mind to say, oh, I don't want my kid attending an HBCU. I don't want my kid playing a sport at an HBCU. Okay, that's your choice. But when they sit in the bench for 4 years and got no playing time and barely got a degree, and they don't even get that sometimes, your choice. I'm not judging you, but I'm just saying it's just kind of funny to me. Ida Watcher says, I'm right. You're right about equal resources. As in the place I grew up has 3 white high schools and the black one was put into one school, even though our population was roughly the same. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot that man got a $49 million buyout. Okay, so maybe he can still fly around on his helicopter. I don't know. Who knows? Shouts out to ODB checking in. Between Bruce Pearl and the former Auburn curse, Tommy Tuberville. Those are 2 buttholes from the same pair of draws. I don't like either of them. I mean, Tommy Tuberville was always a jerk, but Bruce Pearl, he tried to paint himself as this very likable guy, but I always thought that he was just very, very sleazy. And now my point has been proven. As Goody Mob once said, listen to me now, believe me later on. Okay, Jay Anderson with the definition. We are Zennials. Yes, those of us from 77 to 85 are Zennials. So yeah, I'm a Zennial. And yeah, I just found it funny that people my age with kids are like, oh, I don't want my kids going to an HBCU. Well, I can tell you, PWIs ain't that much better. I mean, if you're going to struggle, at least struggle around your own people. If you're going to struggle around, the saltines, when a young man just got lynched at one of the universities in Mississippi, why put your kids through that? I don't have kids, but I'm just saying, if I had a son or a daughter, I would be drilling HBCU in their head all day long. Like, this is the best bet for you. I don't care. I mean, if University of Delaware is going to pay for you to go to school, I can't judge. But if I'm paying for you to go to school, we're going to consider a couple HBCUs, at least, at minimum. You're going to apply to at least 5 of them. Pick your 5. I don't care which 5 you pick. And if they're offering you more money than the PWI, I'm sorry, we taking that car ride. Talking out the side of your neck. But I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about that. Ida Watcher said, from what I heard, James Franklin has to go look for a job as part of his. Shh. Man, I would Rooney rule to death. You hear me? There would be no job I would not interview for. Oh, West Bubble University is looking for a football coach. We apply for that. Bust a cap in your behind Tech is looking for a coach. Let me fill out for that. Okay. All right. So, I mean, if he's got to look for work as part of his contract, just apply for stuff. I mean, shucks, I would apply to be the field hockey coach somewhere in the university. Just say, hey guys, still looking for a job. Just make sure that check still clears. I'm still looking for work. So, yeah, I absolutely would just keep I would just keep looking for work. Jay says PWI is not better at all. They have black unions. There's no at PWIs, there's no such thing. The whole school is black. Yeah, black student unions and PWIs are important. Don't get me wrong, but it just feels safer to be around a school full of black people. And of course, I went to Delaware State, so I know this better than anybody. I know what I'm talking about. James Franklin is not going to accept Lincoln, Pennsylvania's job at all. I guarantee. I don't even think Franklin Saint would touch the Lincoln, Pennsylvania job right now. That's a terrible job. And it has nothing to do with the coaches. It has everything to do with the university. Because Lincoln restarted football in 2008. So that means this is their, they didn't play the COVID year. So this is their 17th season. They have won 4 games, a total of 4 times. And they've never had a 500 or better record. That is an institutional issue. That ain't a coach. That ain't a recruit. Excuse me, sorry. That ain't a player. That is an institutional issue. And until Lincoln gives a doggone about football, we can say that about a lot of HBCUs. Until Lincoln gives a doggone about football, and you're right there. I mean, you got Philly right up the street. You can go get kids from Lancaster, Harrisburg, Reading, Pennsylvania. The southeastern central part of Pennsylvania is a football factory. How Lincoln is not getting kids is a mystery to me. I don't know. I don't know how Lincoln is not getting kids. Delaware too. We got good kids down here in Delaware too. Lincoln is not getting anybody. And again, I don't think that's the coach's fault. I mean, the resources are what they are. Yeah, the worst thing you say is no, and he'll probably say no, but I can tell you right now, I mean, I'm not going to dip too far into Jared Hoffman's lane. I mean, he'll probably have more on Lincoln if he chooses, but I did put Frank Turner on a hot seat because I just don't see a way that this man can keep his job if this team just keeps losing games. I mean, they're probably not going to win the game this year. And people are going to look at that and say, okay, he's got to go. But who are you going to get to replace him? Are you going to put the same mess behind that person that you put behind Frank Turner? Just a thought. Just a thought. Brandon Cyrus says he's starting a rumor that James Franklin is restarting the Cheney football program. You know what? Hold on. As someone who lives probably about a 20-minute drive from Cheney, I would love for Cheney athletics to be great again. I would. But they had to pretty much tear the university down and start over again from scratch. But they've done well. They set a record for freshman enrollment. They have regained accreditation. That's the important stuff. Get more kids in the schools, get your accreditation up. They're actually talking about building a new residence hall. So Cheney State is making inroads to becoming a great HBCU once again, and hopefully the sports follow because they play in they're not even NAIA at this point. They're like a freelance college program, and they only have basketball and volleyball. So I would love for Cheney to have a football program again. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time and some fundraising. Like you probably need, what's the baseline? Would you guys say 20 million is a fair baseline to start a football program? I think 20 million is fair because number one, you're going to have to, refurbish your football stadium, which has been dormant for close to a decade. You're going to have to bring in coaches. You're going to have to bring in, sports information and media people. You're going to have to recruit kids. Like, I think 20 million is a fair baseline to start a football program in these United States today at college level. Yeah, no, yeah. Wilberforce is actually trying to they're doing like a survey and a feasibility study to restart football. And Wilberforce canceled football during World War II. So we're talking about 80 years of not having a football program. So I'm very interested to see if Wilberforce does go through with that. And that would be interesting because Wilberforce and Central State are literally across the street from each other. So that would be a fun game to walk over to one another's field like, yeah, we coming to kick y'all butt, or like, nah, you ain't coming over here, kick nobody's butt. So Ken said, that's fair. We all know VUL in Lincoln, California ain't got no 20 million. Do they even have 20,000? Do they even have 20,000? Yeah. Hey, but yeah, just getting on the, we really forgot about the grades. We'll get back to the grades in a minute. Yeah, but I just can't, again, closing this out. I don't think it's fair to blame Damon Wilson for Morgan State's struggles when Morgan State has been struggling for close to 50 years. And I don't think he belongs on the hot seat. That's just my personal opinion. All right, back to these grades, shall we? Norfolk State. Speaking of teams with interesting coaching situations, Norfolk State, their grade, I can't give them anything above a D, dog. They've looked bad this year, and that is Michael Vick, returning over this program. Like, he's really trying to do this on the fly. And as he said during the MEAC press conference, there is no preseason for college football. Like, there's no exhibitions to see how you are, gauge what you have, none of that. You get practice for about 3 weeks, then you try it out there and play a game. So, yeah, I got to give Norfolk State a D. Their best win is the 34th. The only win they have to this point is 34-31. I don't watch this. The only thing in Norfolk State is winning is revenue from. Hey, that money matters, man. That money helps. But their only win to date is the Labor Day Classic over Virginia State, 34-31. Their worst loss, you could have picked any of them, but I felt like the Wagner game was the game they had won, and they blew it. So I'm giving that as their worst loss. Best unit, offense. Worst unit, defense. And allegedly, I mean, this has not been confirmed yet, but people are reporting that Mike Vick has already fired his defensive coordinator. We don't have confirmation on that, so I don't know. But if he's making changes like that, then that's how you know he's serious. Like, he wants to win. And if a coordinator is not getting it done, well, just got to go home. That's what it is. But the MEAC is an interesting thing anyway, because you never know what team you're going to get from week to week. So I'm not ready to declare Norfolk State season dead yet. But yeah, they earned this D, buddy. They earned this D. Pause. Jared Hoffman said Virginia State should have won that game too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Virginia State had them down a couple scores. I don't know how Division II versus Division I. That's probably what happened. The Division I talent eventually took over. Otto Coons has been starting Eye of the Watcher. I think Mike stopped playing with the quarterback roulette wheel and just said, all right, man, we got to let this dude rock because he's the best one we got right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what the recruiting in the offseason looks like for Coach Vick, because this first year it's not going very well, but hopefully he'll be able to get in these these kids' living rooms and say, we're doing something important in Norfolk State. This is a job I took because I love my city. I have a respect for this institution. And if you come along with me, we're going to make some changes. So that's hopefully what Coach Vick and his staff can do this winter. On to North Carolina Central, and there's no surprise about these grades. Their grade is an A+. Their best win, 62-20 over A&T. Their worst loss, which we really can't call a worst loss because, it's an FBS school, 54-6 at ODU. Best unit, take your pick. Special teams, they got their punter and place kickers at the top of the MEAC in all those important categories. Defense, they have locked down pretty much everybody that wasn't in FBS school and East Texas. Offense, they're on a 4-game winning streak, averaging 52 points a game. Right now, they're the best team in the MEAC, and it's not particularly close. If the only thing that can stop North Carolina Central from winning the MEAC at this point is North Carolina Central themselves. Trey Oliver is going to kill me for saying that, but I guarantee you, Matter of fact, unless Delaware State wins next week, then I will be on here gloating and doing cartwheels. But I don't see anyone beating North Carolina Central in MEAC play. I don't. They have just looked like gangbusters right about now. Jared says, I figured New Hampshire would be their worst loss. I mean, the New Hampshire loss, I mean, they made a lot of mistakes in that game. I mean, I just couldn't dock them for that. And I mean, you know, ODU is just default because you lose by 47 points. But I mean, those are only 2 games they've lost. And those are games that anybody else in the MEAC would lose too. So other than that, they've looked great. They have looked great. Oh, wow. I didn't know Reed was out. Jeez Louise. That's a tough break. Brandon Cyrus says, not being biased, but Central's win against FAMU. The FAMU win was absolutely impressive. I watched that game. I covered that game last week, remotely, of course. And FAMU was never in, which is something that we probably need to talk about this week. Swag page or roundtable. Gentlemen, let's put it together for Friday. And Central looked like an FBS team against an FCS team. That's how dominant they were against Florida A&M. And you know, maybe that's just the symptoms, the side effects of the Willie Simmons era coming to an end and the James Colsey era not being off to a great start. I don't know, but Central has looked like the best team in the MEAC by a mile, and probably only Jackson State. Only Jackson State is better than North Carolina Central at this point. That would be a fun celebration bowl. Let's cross our fingers. Last but certainly not least, for the MEAC at least, is the South Carolina State Bulldogs. They are a B+. Their best win was an absolute track meet, 55-41 over Bethune-Cookman. Their worst loss, which I still don't understand happened, was a 31-24 defeat at previously winless Charleston Southern. Their best unit is still their defense. They don't have a worse unit. Their offense is okay, probably because the 2-quarterback system, it's hard to get a read on who is better between Billy Atkins and Ryan Stubblefield. That's probably why Chennis Berry keeps playing both of them. You know, as long as both guys show up to work every day and work hard and do something good, they're going to play on Saturday. So if you're playing South Carolina State, you have to game plan for 2 quarterbacks. And I know the old John Madden quote, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. But at this point, what Stubblefield and Atkins are doing, it's good enough. And they still have a really good defense. So, I mean, I say North Carolina Central is going to win the MEAC, but it wouldn't surprise me if South Carolina State won again, because as Ric Flair always says, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, as it still stands, because nobody has played the MEAC game yet, South Carolina State is, the man. All right. We move on to our other MEAC and More friends. The Tennessee State Tigers. They only have 1 win. So that's their best win. 24-21 over North Carolina A&T. Their worst loss, 31-7 in Eastern Illinois. Eastern Illinois hasn't been any good since Tony Romo left. So yeah, this is a rebuilding year for the Tigers. And once again, that Tennessee State offense it took a hit when Eddie George left, and it shows. They're averaging about 12 points a game, which is near the bottom in FCS. And FCS has 131 schools. So Tennessee State's like 127, 128 in points per game. So yeah, this is a rebuilding year. And this week is a good shot for Howard to end their non-conference play on a good note. Oh, I forgot their grade. Shucks. It's a D. It's absolutely a D. I forgot to put the D on here. Pause. But yeah, Reggie Barlow is going to have to rebuild this thing from the ground up. But if anybody can do it, that's the good news for Tennessee State. If anybody can rebuild an HBCU football program, it's Reggie Barlow. So this year, this might be the only time that anybody else can catch Tennessee State while they're down. Because next year, they're probably going to be a lot better. This year, just got to rebuild, man. You just got to take the Stone Cold Stunners, the Rock Bottoms, the F5s, the Tombstones, and just get ready for next year. That's really all it is to it. And last but certainly not least for our grades, the North Carolina A&T Aggies. And I gave them a C because they just look so much better under Sean Gibbs than they did under Vincent Brown. So much better. Their best win, their only win, is 33-30 over Hampton. Their worst loss is a game they should have won, 24-21 at Tennessee State. Their defense is good. Their offense, I mean, now that they finally have the quarterback situation figured out, it seems like with the young man, his last name is White, I do believe. So, they got the quarterback situation figured out after losing a bunch of guys to injury. So, I don't know if A&T wins another game this year, but they look a lot better. And Sean Gibbs is already, starting to instill some accountability and some pride back into these kids. Pride back into them. Because everybody was laughing when he said these guys, they get hyped to NBA Youngboy, but they forget how to act when they get on the field. I think the players heard that and said, yo, coach saying we soft. We can't be soft. And they played like that. I mean, they played a lot better. So Sean Gibbs was the right guy for that job. And I know, delayed, not denied. I mean, he was supposed to get the FAMU job. That didn't work out. But A&T is where he is, and I think that's where he will succeed eventually. Jay Anderson, the South Carolina State Bulldog, says Greensboro Tech, the best unit is their grass. Hey, man, that stadium is nice. It really is. But yeah, it's just a Brandon Cyrus. Do we want to talk about this? Because it seems like the Big South OVC is sort of disassembling, if you will. So do we want to talk about this? Is it possible that there is a world where Tennessee State does not have a conference home in 2026 or 2027? Because Tennessee Tech is leaving. A couple other schools are leaving, if I'm not mistaken. So Tennessee State is going to have some interesting decisions to make in the next couple years. Because it seems like the Big South OVC, it seemed like that was only designed to be temporary anyway. But now that temporary period is starting to end, now it's like, okay, what can you do? What do you want your program to look like? ODB said they should go to the SWAC, but they won't. Sonic Booms 98 says the SWAC is full. Ida Watcher says it's all about the money. Tennessee State will stay as long as the cost does not increase. Yeah, makes sense. Jay Anderson said to me, Tennessee State wants no parts of the MEAC, Jay. They don't. They do not. They don't want any parts of the SWAC either. So, I mean, it's kind of like a pointless conversation until, the athletic director and the administration have a change of heart, and I don't think they will. But I would think that, at some point, you have to start thinking in the best interest of your stakeholders. And Eddie George made that crack when he was the head coach about wings and beer and all of that, but he had a fair point. You got to get people in the games, and people are not coming to see Eastern Illinois. They're not coming to see Lindenwood. They're not coming to see Eastern Illinois. It just ain't. It just ain't. That just ain't. I can tell you right now, the only reason people went to watch Delaware State play Southern Connecticut State, because one, they thought it would be an easy win, and it was. And two, this is the most excited anyone has been about Delaware State football in years. But other than that, don't bring no white schools to HBCU homecomings no more, dog. We don't want that. It's like Pusha T said about people who can't rap. When Pusha T had that little snide comment about Travis Scott not being able to rap. That's how I feel about PWIs coming to HBCUs for homecomings. We don't want that. We don't want that. We're sorry. We don't want that. I hope next year, once again, that Delaware State gets an HBCU for homecoming. As long as it's not VUL in Lincoln, California. Anyone else will do. I promise you. Zach McKinnon with a good point. To be fair, they aren't coming to see anyone, especially off campus. But the thing is, they don't have the money to redo Hale Stadium. Because Hale Stadium, number one, is, I believe, close to 100 years old. And it's just too far gone. You would literally have to knock Hale Stadium down and build something else over top of it. Is what my understanding is. So unless somebody has a good 9-figure sum to pull that off, It looks like they'll be playing their home games at that new stadium that Nashville is building for the Titans. Even though it's not that far away. I mean, it's only like apparently like 2 miles difference between where Tennessee State is and Nissan Stadium is currently. So Kim Rashad says, as long as Mickey Allen is the AD, TSU is not joining the HBCU conference. I would love to pick his brain about that. I would. All the talk about from TSU fans wanting to play HBCUs, but where were they during the Alabama A&M game? Ooh, clock it. as the kids in the LGBTQ fam say, clock it. Yeah. I mean, I was surprised that game was not well attended. I really was. Zach says, I know it starts with funding, but I don't think them coming to the MEAC is going to magically fix attendance. Yeah, I have to agree. I don't think so either. I mean, you got to start winning. You got to start winning again. I mean, they were close. They were close to putting together a solid program under Eddie George. I mean, for one, they won the Big South OVC last year as a part of a 4-way tie and made it to the playoffs. But Eddie George, he wanted to pursue another thing, and we don't begrudge Eddie George for that, because it wasn't like Eddie George was completely negative about his HBCU experience. In fact, we had him on this show. You can go back and check the tape. We had him on his YouTube channel, and he was very, complimentary and understanding of what HBCUs had to go through, what his job was. So, I mean, no one here in this space begrudges Eddie George for going to Bowling Green at all. But I just, it just put Tennessee State in a bit of a hole because they had to rebuild. I hope this is true. Ida Watcher says Tennessee State has plans to redo Hale with the Titans. I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, every Nashville, both the Predators and the Titans should be in lockstep with Tennessee State University, because Black people watch football and Black people are going to try to play hockey. I really hope that they are able to get on the ice next year. Shouts out to head coach Dante Abercrombie. I did a wonderful interview with him earlier this summer. I really hope the Tennessee State hockey program does take off, because I think that would be fun. And as a hockey fan myself, go Avs, go. I hope they're able to pull it off. But in the meantime, Tennessee State has so much to worry about. For one, they've got a legislature that absolutely hates their guts. That's the start. You got to start finding out a way to weed out the bad eggs in that Tennessee State legislature, so you can get some funding back and start, rebuilding your school. So that's one thing. Sonic Boom C98 says, I am not going to a TSU game at any Titan stadium. I respect it. I mean, it's tough, but it's what Tennessee State has to deal with at this point, because if I can tell you right now, I guarantee you, as sure as it is October 15th, 2025 at 12:48 Eastern Standard Time, if anybody from Tennessee State walked into that legislature and said, can we get $200 million for Hale Stadium? They wouldn't even be able to finish the sentence out. They would be like, F off, Negroes, and just throw stuff at them. So, I mean, Tennessee State is in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. It's tough, but, so apparently this is the reason why. From what was reported, because Brandon Cybers was asking Ida Watcher, were there funds to go with the TSU Hale plans? And Ida Watcher says, from what was reported, yes, as the Titans really want state going outside of one-off big games. Well, if that's what it takes, if Tennessee, if Amy Adams Sistrunk wants to drop a check worth $200 million to redo Hale or build something on top of Hale, cool, do it. Again, we didn't want to join hands in harmony. We just wanted equal resources. And if Tennessee State can get a nice check to redo Hale in the same way Vanderbilt has a stadium refurbishment or whatever, why not? I didn't even know Elizabeth City State upgraded their stadium. Shouts out to the Vikings. Adrian Jones is going to have them winning games in the near future. Guaranteed. I don't know how close they'll be to CIAA contenders, but I think they'll get there with Adrian Jones. Absolutely. Lionel Williams said they couldn't even get $200,000. No, not from the state of Tennessee, buddy. No, sir. No, sir. Oh, they haven't done it yet. Oh, but the plans would cost $40 million. Yeah, because Hale Stadium. I mean, Hale Stadium looks like, even though, because I think Tennessee State played games there recently, and like in recent years, and it's like Hale Stadium looks like it would be a nice, intimate home field advantage. Like it's like the seats are like right on top of the stadium. Like it would be like the Roman Coliseum, basically. And Tennessee State fans get, if they get rowdy enough, they can make life miserable for a team at Hale. But you got to do the stadium up. That's going to be the key. Lawrence says, I say Tennessee State heading to the SoCon over the SWAC. I think so too. And I also think that everybody should watch out for the possibility of South Carolina State also heading to the SoCon. I don't have any intel on that. It's just a hunch. Jay can probably refute this. But I mean, the MEAC, again, I'm telling people disagreed with me mightily on the HBCU Sports Facebook page when I said the Celebration Bowl was the only thing holding the MEAC together. And that's their choice. But I've observed this conference for more than half my life. I've observed this conference for 23 going on 24 years. Hey. Zach knows. If you haven't checked out Zach McKinnell's work yet, you should, by the way. But yeah, we just reporting the facts around here, man. Don't shoot the messenger. That's my best Drewski. Hey, just saying. Oh, Ryan Bunn is a Central alum. I know he's going to deny this. He would deny this before God. He would deny this before a court of law, which I get. But I mean, the MEAC is like, man, this ESPN money, the only thing keeping it together right now, be honest with you, is let me see. Sonic Boom says that Howard, if CSU, if South Carolina State and Howard lead the MEAC's dead. MEAC's dead. Do. That's what I said. Do. Shouts out to the late great Curtis Mayfield. Brandon Cyrus says the MEAC's contract with ESPN expires in 2026. I thought they just extended it. If that's the case, then yeah, this might be the end of the road as we know it. Stephen Campbell checking in. Tennessee State has been totally screwed by the state of Tennessee. They're about to be screwed again by the Titans, because the Titans are looking to build a dome and want Tennessee State to co-sign. TSU has to pay to play in the Titan State. Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I feel like Mickey Allen and I forget the name of the president, they should be meeting with Amy Adams Sistrunk, who owns the Titans, and say, look, if you really want us to be out of your space, drop $200 million on Hale Stadium, or so that we can build a replacement for Hale Stadium. We'll call it the John Merritt Bud Adams Stadium. We'll do it like that. How about it? That's what they should do. I mean, you got the squeaky wheel gets the grease, man. That's what I would do if I was Tennessee State's leadership. I would go to the ownership of the Titans and say, y'all getting all this money for this dome stadium, and if you really want us to be out of your way, then help us build our own stadium or redo the one we got. I mean, you can afford it. I mean, it ain't like you gonna go broke. So if I was Mickey Allen and the president, I absolutely would be, in Amy Adams Sistrunk's face saying, look, build us a stadium and we will go on our merry way. That's exactly what I would do. Lionel Williams says that's why Dr. McClellan is so important. He is showing you the future broadcasting as it relates to small and black college athletics. Oh, yes. SWAC TV was a brilliant play. And the quality is actually improved as the season has progressed. So, I mean, Dr. McClellan, I mean, him and his brain trust were in their bag when they created SWAC TV. Absolutely. So I'm not going to sit here and downplay anything Charles McClellan does, because right now the man is rolling sevens all the way through. He is rolling sevens at an epic pace. And that's why I'm really shocked that Mickey Allen wants nothing to do with an HBCU conference. I really am. I would love to have him on this show, not from an ambush perspective, but just to, not uncomfortable conversations with a black man, because I am not Emmanuel Akko, buddy. No, sir. No, sir. I don't do that. I don't play those games. But I would love to just have Mickey Allen on here and just talk to him like, why you don't like the SWAC? I know why you don't like the MEAC, because the travel would suck. I get that. But the SWAC, I was supposed to get one this homecoming weekend pass, but my car broke down. So that's why you guys aren't hearing me being hype about homecoming, because I didn't make it to homecoming, because the brake light on my car came on. And that means I have to get my brakes fixed. And I don't feel comfortable driving a car that needs brakes fixed. Thank goodness I work from home. But yeah, I'm going to get myself a Delaware State jersey, hopefully before the year is out, because I've got to, either fix the brakes on this car or junk it and buy something else. And that's why, I want to say donating to this operation is important, because this operation pays my bills. So if you want to donate to hbcusports.com, you are more than welcome to do so. We have Cash App. Just type in HBCU Sports. You can go to the Zelle app, donate at hbcusports.com, or go straight to the website, donate hbcusports.com/donate. You can also drop a super chat here. We're still looking for super chats. They can be $1, $2, $3, whatever. And, keep this operation going and keep my bills paid. And I can figure out a way to get rid of this piece of junk that's sitting outside my house. But yes, yeah, it's late, but it's in the case of the SWAC and HBCU athletics for having, especially with the SIAC network and the CIAA network, it's better late than never. Better late than never. Yeah, I mean, you got to at least start. I mean, I would be really disappointed if we didn't have any streaming presence. But the SWAC has started something that's really good. The CIAA network and the SIAC network are very accessible. So to me, the only one that doesn't have one in the NCAA space anyway is the MEAC, because they're partnered with ESPN. Cold game. Yes, Ryan. Yes, Lionel. I still would love to do my job. Ryan. Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it. I've been to North Carolina Central before. I love that campus. Okay, so I think Kentrell asked the question: should the MEAC just start partaking in the playoffs, giving their playing experience, playing FBS and mid-tier FCS, that would get them more exposure? I don't think you're going to get more exposure in the playoffs than you do with the Celebration Bowl and the MEAC SWAC Challenge. I don't. The MEAC SWAC Challenge is one of the first games of the year. It's on ABC. The Celebration Bowl is the first bowl game of the year. It's on TV. So and free TV and that. Like, both of those games are on ABC. You don't get an ABC FCS playoff game. You're not. So I feel like the Celebration Bowl is the MEAC's best bet for football exposure at this particular point in time. So, did the SWAC, Jared, did the SWAC steal the CIAA's flow bar for bar? Soulja Boy, man, that boy snapped on Drake. He was right about Drake, though. He was right about Drake. I'll give Soulja Boy that. But yeah, there's a lot of questions to be answered and asked about the future of the MEAC. I mean, it's a conversation that people don't want to have, but we're going to have it. We're going to have it, because you don't want to get caught with your pants down, when Howard has been flirting with the Patriot or the NEC, or Delaware State's been flirting with the NEC, or Central and South Carolina State have interest in the SoCon. You got to talk about it, because either you're going to find a way to keep this conference together, or at least ensure that everybody has a landing space where they are safe, secure, and comfortable. The only thing that would mean is I would have to change the name of this program. It wouldn't be the MEAC and More, because there wouldn't be a MEAC. It would just be the More with Chris Stevens. That's not a bad title, actually. But the MEAC and More is something that, I would like to see go on at least a few more years. Yeah, it's a challenge. It is a challenge. I mean, I don't envy anybody in this. The people that are paid to make these decisions, I don't envy them at all. At all. I don't envy the president of South Carolina State. I don't envy Commissioner Sonia Stills, because people are on her case, even though I think she's doing the best she can with what she got. Word to Mariah Carey. I guess the MEAC always had sort of like a time limit, because when you think about it, when the MEAC started in 1970, it started because the CIAA had 18 schools. 18. Oh boy. This sounds like a law firm, actually. The law offices of the MEAC, the SoCon, and the NEC. We will get your settlement, guaranteed. But yeah, I don't see I just don't know what the future holds for this conference, but it's something that we really need to talk, because again, when the MEAC started in the beginning of the 70s, end of the 60s, CIAA had 18 schools. You still had West Virginia State and Bluefield State in the conference at the time. UDC was in the CIAA. St. Paul was still around. So was St. Augustine's. And was Claflin there? I don't think Claflin was there back then. I'm not sure. But they had 18 schools, and 6 from the MEAC, and South Carolina State was in the SIAC actually when they joined the MEAC in 1970. So it was like 6 schools said, and they were all like concentrated into one area, honestly, because it was Delaware State, it was Norfolk, it was Delaware State, it was Morgan State, it was Howard, it was Maryland State, then Maryland Eastern Shore, and A&T, and South Carolina State. And those are the ones that said, all right, man, we've kind of had enough. And Central actually joined in too. Central joined back then in 1970. So I was like, all right, man. I mean, the only schools that didn't leave, the only state that didn't leave the CIAA at the time was Virginia. Virginia said, nah, we good here. Virginia, West Virginia said, nah, y'all can go. We good here. So, yeah. Like I said, Dennis Thomas' legacy is safe, because the Celebration Bowl is his baby. Outside of that, yeah, very interesting. Jay Anderson agrees. The MEAC in 2000 had a chance to be top notch, and that commissioner dropped out. Yeah. These are the days of our lives, people. And the sands of the hourglass for the MEAC apparently are running out as well. Yay for. Can you guys still hear me? Because my internet just went out real quick. Comcast. I paid too much money for this BS. I had a watcher said Dennis Thomas sitting in a dark room with FAMU and BCU left sticks in my mind. Yeah. Hey man. And my internet is choppy. I don't know why, because my bill is paid. So Comcast, I don't know what you want, but I pay too much money for this crap. Get it together. If we lose the MEAC as we know it, we have lost our identity in athletics. And I think that is a fair statement to make, because you would only have one Division I HBCU conference and only 4 left overall. When you think about the SWAC, CIAA, SIAC, and HBCUAC, which of course is NAIA. So I think what the only hope for keeping the MEAC together is that you appeal to the broader sense of community to the schools that are thinking about leaving. Like, you have to appeal to the tradition. Like, you have to sort of, you got to be like David Ruffin. I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go. Even if I have to plead for your sympathy, I don't mind, because you mean that much to me. Ain't too proud to beg. That's how everybody else in the MEAC should be towards each other right now. Because if South Carolina State, North Carolina Central say it's about that time, it's about that time. If Delaware State and Howard say it's about that time, then it's about that time. So Brandon Cyrus says, not necessarily. We do like the HBCUAC did, take over a PWI conference and transform that identity. I think that would only work with the NEC. Because I think everybody else is safe where they are. The Coastal is untouchable. The Coastal lost Delaware, Richmond, William & Mary, going to lose Villanova, and still humming on all cylinders. The SoCon is decent. Big South OVC might be the only one that you can probably say is choppy at this point in the region. So it's tough, man. Like, whew. Again, I don't envy the people that have to make these decisions. I'm just a person that talks about them and reviews them and discusses and debates, but I don't have to make these decisions. I don't have to look at my alumni and say, we're leaving this situation that we've had for 50 plus years because, the landscape has changed so much. And Lawrence brings up a good point. The NEC needs the MEAC because teams been leaving that conference. So yeah, Sacred Heart's gone, Merrimack's gone. I think a couple other schools are on the way out. Yeah, I'd watch her. Sacred Heart's joining the CIAA. Oh Lord, no, they're not. They're joining the CAA for football. Jay Anderson said, I think the move to get Winston-Salem State and Savannah State was desperation with no real thinking. Neither were ready to move up. It's so funny because Savannah State was considered an independent Division I for a decade, at least. For a decade. At least. Because when they started, I know, Jared, I messed that up so bad, my bad. Yeah, the CIAA does not need Sacred Heart. They just got rid of Chowan. They just got rid of the PWI taking up space. They don't need another one taking up space. So I apologize for that. But I just think that Coppin State, I watcher. I can see that. Because when you think about it, the NEC and the MEAC have a really good working relationship because the Olympic sports or the non-revenue sports, as it were, for the most part, the MEAC has a good working relationship with the NEC because, men's and women's soccer, Delaware State and Howard's women's soccer teams and Howard's men's soccer teams play in the NEC. The 4 remaining baseball schools, Del State, UMES, Norfolk State, and Coppin State, they all play baseball in the NEC. So, yeah, Chicago State's already there. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to get with Coach Bobby Rome so I can get him on this show. So cross your fingers and hope we get that work. Hopefully we make that happen. But yeah, again, good luck to the people making these decisions, because I do not know what the future holds for this conference and the HBCUs in it. All I know is we got to support them regardless. And I got to find out, and I got to figure out a name change for this program if that happens. But as for now, it's still the MEAC More, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. Matter of fact, before I go, I still need to promote my stuff because Ken Rashad is huge on his benevolence and saying y'all need to promote your stuff outside of HBCU sports, because I have a few things. That's not one of them. North Carolina, I'm not promoting North Carolina A&T because not because I don't like North Carolina A&T, because I don't work for North Carolina A&T. But I do have some things that I would like to promote before we get up out of here. Yeah, while I'm getting these slides together, thank you, Jay. Be sure y'all hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. We're getting closer to 5,000, so feel free to Subscribe and become a level 1 or level 2 member. And for $4.99 a month, you can get all the Black college news and sports that's fit to print and broadcast as we like to give it to you. And you can find us on all manners of social media. We are on the Musty app. We're on that's Twitter, by the way. TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky. Search for HBCU Sports. Shouts out to Band Talk for checking in. Greatly appreciate them as well. And before I get out of here, as you guys saw with the slides coming up, I have a music podcast. It's called On the Groove Line. And my most recent episode, I did one yesterday about the death of D'Angelo. If you guys didn't notice my D'Angelo dedication under my name, we lost the great Michael D'Angelo Archer yesterday to pancreatic cancer, and his passing has hit hard, has absolutely hit hard. And I talked about that episode. So I talked about that on the last episode. So if you guys would be so kind, you can go to that link right there, youtube.com/on the groove line, and you can check out my music podcast. My most popular episode recently, though, is I did an episode about D-Train's cover of Walk On By. And for some strange reason, people have really responded to that particular episode. So if you guys want to know why I think the D-Train version compares favorably to Isaac Hayes' version, you can check that out. Why won't this link work? Okay. All right. And my second thing that I want to promote while I'm here is my dating and late night podcast, The Overnight Scenario. This is on my Patreon. So if you want to subscribe to my Patreon, it's only $1 a month. And you get a podcast where it's me talking about my dating and my misadventures or my adventures or misadventures in dating and different things of that nature. In fact, there's going to be an episode up later tonight about my one successful Tinder experience. So I think you guys might be interested in that. Again, you can go to this link here, the Patreon, subscribe for $1 a month. And I also share my creative writing pursuits. I write novels and such. So you guys can, check me out with my creative writing and my podcasting there. And I think that covers it. Yeah, that covers it. All right. So thank you guys for watching. I've got some biscuits to bake for lunch. So I'm going to get off of here. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And do not forget that tomorrow, the Better Than Less Than podcast with Jared Hoffman, he's going to cover everything from the CIAA, the SIAC, and the NAIA football sphere. That will be on Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So, be sure to check him out and get your D2 fix. You'll be glad you did. For now, that's going to do it. So until the next time we speak, y'all take care of yourselves and each other. We gone.